But shout out to you, man. Big thank you for coming through. And yeah, God bless you, brother.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Peace.
Yo, shalom, welcome back to my channel. It's Obon Tusi. I'm gonna be doing a A-reece album, dropped in December. Heaven Can Wait review. Dog, I generally do not like this album. I feel like it was a disappointment. I generally didn't like. I literally liked like 2 songs from this album. There's just, I don't know, man. Just like the production here was so horrible, bruh. Like, you know, and content-wise, you kind of like look at the title and you feel like, oh, well, it's gonna be a deep album. It's gonna be, you know, a very heavy album, because obviously you kind of think that the album, as the title actually, you know, centered around the passing of their dad. You know, opening skit talks about death and heaven, and you know, and then you're like, oh, well, this is a good album. That's a good way to start the album. You feel like, oh, well, it's probably gonna be centered around that. It's going to be a conceptual album, and I literally didn't get none of that, because you've got so many songs where like you generally don't understand why are they here, you know. But songs like Out of Reach, More Than a Night, you've got Automatic. I just didn't like most of the songs here, dog. You know, the only song that I actually fucked with was you know, the song.
It all starts with a vision. That's key to ignition. All that drive's gonna need some direction. All that pride's gonna need some revision. All niggas wanna make the cut incision, yeah. But it cuts deep. Most my niggas never left the streets.
Obviously, it talks about the upliftment of black kids, you know, and how we still having it tough as black people. And I think that's the only song that's kind of like very conscious and very focused on societal issues. But other than that, though, there's just so many songs here where you're like, okay, but why did you do this? You know, I literally like 2 songs, but
Smoking that reefer, sending it straight to heaven. Smoking that reefer, sending it. Yeah, who's that smoking on my indoor? Who's that smoking on my?
you know. But other than that, I generally didn't like any of the songs here. Highlight of the album is the confrontation, because you know, it talks about, I think it's A-reece touching on the whole, you know, the wrecking crew issue, and you know, but still, but like I'm done with A-reece always playing victim, dog. Like, at least in Tagalo, and take a bit of accountability, dog. And I think we've moved past by the the industry is still against A-reece, you know, all this mystique is got going on, dog. Like, for me as a A-reece fan, dog, I'm tired of that shit, dog, you know. It's like, we know you think that people are against you and whatever, but I think that shit is played out, dog. You talk about how the only reason why people know the Wrecking Crew is because of you, then yeah, it is, but still, and then niggas are doing well right now, dog. They're doing well without you. They're actually prospering, you know. But now it's all you and playing victim. And when Mesh Beats actually tweeted that the thing of you always playing victim is actually played out, then now I'm tired of that shit, dog, you know. And for now, when this album dropped, most people were like, nah, the production is really rubbish, dog. And I was like, nah, what the fuck are you guys talking about? And then I listened to the album, and then it's literally that there's the opening song. You've got like, I think the beat changed like 4 times or whatever. And then like, what the fuck is happening here? I listen to the same song or what's really happening. Because even with Tanton J, her part, you literally don't know what's really, like, what was her part there, you know? You've got like the opening skit, and then the beat changes, and then it changes again. Then Tanton just thingy spot comes in, and then okay, what am I listening to here? Like, there's just so much going on the opening song, dog, you know. And I feel like still they could have at least tried to touch on different subjects, and they didn't actually talk about the Pretty Uglies thingy, bro. Like they only touched it on Tough Luck, and that was like subliminals, and then that's it. And then you're like, Jens, how about you literally go hard at this shit, dog, you know? And even the references here, Bill Russell, and you feel like you like, this Jens actually, especially Reese, dog, you're like, he's saying you represent the city from PTA, but still, Like there's hardly any reference, PTA references. You listen to Boo 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 25K. You listen to there's a guy called 3 something. I think it's also from the West. You listen to Tato Soul. You listen to gents that are actually part from PTA. You literally hear the PTA, the Mamelodi or the Atretville influence in their music. It's always international references, dog. They understand the fact that okay, we all were like influenced by. I also grew up listening to the US rap, but you listen to 25K, this nigga is actually from Peli, Tato Soul, same shit. And I still feel like there's just so many. If you're looking for album that has replay value, I think obviously there's so many hits here, and then you feel like okay, that's probably what they were chasing. But still, for me, this album sounds out of place, and because when I listen to Triple TM, dog, I still remember the first time I heard Dotted Lines, first time Over Me, first time I heard Bravo, dog. That album was just so good, And even if I don't want to actually compare to Triple TM, but still, bruh, like subconsciously, I'm always like, fuck, okay, but come on, bruh, like you could have done better with this album, And I feel like also Jody carried this album. For me, A-reece was a disappointment on this album, bruh, like legit. And I still feel like Triple TM. When you listen to Triple TM, it was literally nothing like a A-reece album, bruh. It sounded so different, dog. You're like, you know what? This is the shit, dog. Because the production there was just so melancholic, so new. You are like aware this is something that we've always yearned for, dog. Like something different, You kind of like understood the fact that okay, there was a bit of growth there, You got like Belosalo that really did well on the album. You got Stogie T. I still remember Stogie T's verse, dog. You've got words. You've got if it wasn't for Jody, dog, for me this album probably would have been 1 out of 10. But I feel like okay, Jody kind of like carried the whole album. Like this, it's a 3 out of 10 at best. I genuinely didn't want to do this, but I was like, but if I'm always gonna do albums that I like on my channel, no one's gonna fuck with my channel, or I'm probably gonna become stagnant, So I just had to actually be honest with this album. Like, you know what? I generally didn't fuck with this album, bruh. I spent beats that obviously understand the fact that the attention was on you, because now Mesh Beats is no longer there. That was a huge disappointment, dog, But anyway, man, it's just an opinion. Obviously, there's people that really fuck with this album. I'm a A-reece fan, dog. Before niggas come for me, y'all niggas are just hating, dog. I'm a A-reece fan, dog. But I generally didn't fuck with this album. I could have done without this album. In terms of like sales, streams and shit, it did well, But for me, content-wise, I feel like at least the title of the album should have kind of like, being in sync with the content, and I didn't actually get any of that shit. Just my opinion. Shalom, man, and hopefully I'll see you guys again.